The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds worth of sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it.
All right, 14:20 in the morning for this 28th day of August 2024. Today's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are proud members of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all of their great sports articles and other great podcasts, such as the Corner Boot Podcast, Crap Root Sports, and the like, and many more over there at Belly Up Sports. And thank you very much for everybody who takes time to listen to us or watch us on YouTube on a daily basis. We appreciate it very much. And thank you very much to Lou Gamlin of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. I was on his show. We recorded it on a Monday night. It was on TV last night, actually, out in the Detroit area and everywhere else. But thanks very much, Lou. We talked about the Yankees dynasty from 95 when it first went down with losing to the Seattle Mariners and how that all came about until 2000. And it was a great little conversation, one of those great Yankee teams. And thanks very much to Lou. Lou's always more than happy to come on my show, and I'm happy to go on his show. We have a great chat. A couple of guys are a little bit older and have some different views in the sports world and everything else. But anyways, it's kind of funny how I'm in the broadcast world a little bit, and I'm in the sports world and everything else. And there's sometimes things just don't really feel right between the ears, and sometimes you take a bit of a kick in the teeth and you do a podcast, or if your work life, sometimes you just don't feel so good about it. And so last week I had a bit of a rough end of the week. Nothing too major, nothing, just one of those things where things aren't feeling too good. So you kind of you try to shake it off and everything else, and you realize that, you know what, sometimes you gotta dust off the old boots a little bit and get back at it and get back to being myself a little bit. And one of those things I realized, I was watching a lot of I'm not a one side or the other guy. But I was watching a lot of American politics lately, and it can really bring a guy down. I never realized how much it could do that, but it was one of those things. You start watching some stuff that makes you either upset or happy one way or the other, but stuff you go shake your head, and how the negativity breeds negativity a lot. And I got, watching so much of that stuff. The Democratic National Convention was on last week, and the Trump stuff's always on and everything else. I'm not going to get into it. Like, we're not here to pick sides or anything. But anyways, you realize you're not watching what makes you enjoy things, and the things that make you smile on a daily basis. And one of those things, I didn't get to watch a ton of baseball this summer because I was busy with my job. Like, I was funny, you don't get to watch baseball when you work at a baseball park. But one of those things, I didn't get to watch a lot of baseball. And then so on Saturday, I kind of, like I said, I dusted off the old boots. I got back to what I like doing. I turned on the radio a little bit, because usually I'll listen to a podcast or a sports show while I have a game on. I got 58 or 60 things going on in my head. So I got to sit down and actually watch some baseball this weekend. And I got smiling a lot, because there was a guy on Friday night, in Oakland. He caught himself 3 foul balls, and I was thinking, geez, that guy might be the luckiest son of a gun in the world to go to I know it's Oakland, so you have a situation. There's a lot of empty seats, but to get 3 foul balls, like one, let alone 3 in a single night, and that's one of those things about baseball that there's something about a baseball that men and children and women alike, they all like getting. This guy was lucky enough to get 3, and he was on TV multiple times throughout different highlight packages and stuff. It made a guy smile a little bit, saying that that's what sports is kind of about, and that's what it's supposed to be about, is to get away from the everyday's doldrums of life, and the everyday struggles of life and everything else. And that guy, I don't know who he is. I'll never know who he is. I'm sure he's been on podcasts, and he's been on Sports Center or whatever it might be. But that guy was the luckiest son of a gun in the world on Friday night. And then on Saturday, the Yankees had their annual Old Timers Day, which they got away from playing the game, which I think is a good thing. But you see all those old. I mean, they're getting old now. You think about 2009, they brought their 2009 team back, and the smiles that come across your face, and the memories that you the memories that you have when it's all happening and going on. It just that's what you can kind of get yourself lost in those things. And everybody's thoughts and memories are a little bit different when it comes to their team and their championship teams and it was fun to watch all those guys. And A-Rod came back. And I still think A-Rod's going to end up in Monument Park. They're going to have a kiss and make up session eventually, because he's still, like, say what you want about A-Rod, he's still one of the greatest players to ever play the game. I mean, even without the steroids and everything else that was going on. I mean, yes, he did alter the facts of life, I guess you could say, with what he did, and Barry Bonds as well. But you can't take away what these guys actually did in the field. Like, I do think that A-Rod will get back on the field and or back in Monument Park and back in the Yankees good books. Maybe one day he's a baseball savant. Maybe one day he'll be he's making a lot of money being a broadcaster, and the day-to-day grind of being a coach or a manager might be a little bit too much for him and his diva lifestyle. But anyways, it's another story for another day. But you watch guys like Jeter, how he was talking about how great Aaron Judge is. Then you start watching the Yankee game a little bit. They got blown out on Saturday by the Colorado Rockies, which is funny on Old Timers Day for the Yankees to get blown out like that. But you watch that game and you talk about the admiration that these guys who played and won multiple championships, and the admiration they have for a guy like Aaron Judge. And it just kind of like that, they're sports fans too, and they can probably get away from the different issues in life than I have, obviously, but they can get away from it all too and just be a fan for a couple of days. And they were talking, like Jeter said, I don't know why they're pitching to this guy. I don't know why they're letting him. And then Mariano was on as well. He entered the broadcast in the first inning, joined Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill in the booth, and he was saying the same thing. I wouldn't pitch to this guy. Like, I'd find a way to pitch around him. He's just on fire, and on it goes. They lost again last night to Washington. Those are games you got to win, but they get out pitched, or they get stumped by left-handed pitchers a lot, and that's going to be a problem come playoff time. We don't want to talk about the negativity of the Yankees or anything else today. That's not what I'm here to talk about. But then you went back to Oakland, and I watched the Toronto Blue Jays game after that. The no-hitter notification came across the phone within about the seventh inning, I think it was, and Blue Jays pitcher Bowden Francis. I'm not going to pretend to even know who Bowden Francis was until that moment when it came across the wire that he was going to be out there throwing a no-hitter and everything else, and got into the ninth inning, and you got thinking, like, what if he does this? So you send some messages to friends and people and stuff, and they're like, oh, so then they tune in, and he obviously gave up the leadoff home run in the ninth inning. He didn't get it. But in the eighth inning, when those fly balls are happening, the outs are happening, you start counting down outs, and it gets exciting. And you just wonder what the viewership goes up to on a situation like that, in a game like that, where he's the best in the world at that moment. Yeah, he had a couple of walks, but that doesn't much matter. But there's a lot of eyeballs that go onto that. And you're like, holy cow. And you wonder if that ever gets into a guy's head about how many outs he's got going. And all of a sudden, I got more people watching and more people watching and more people watching. Like, holy cripes, here we go. This might be a thing. We might actually get this thing done. So it's really neat to see that. And like, when you get like, if he did get it done, it reminds me of that movie For Love of the Game, the Kevin Costner Detroit Tiger thing. And I can't remember the name of the Riley, I think it was John Stewart. Doesn't much matter. The catcher he was all drunked up, and he said, "We didn't suck today." And the Blue Jays are having a really rough season. It's not to Bowden Francis's fault. It's just the organization is just in a bit of a state of flux right now. But you're thinking about if they could have pulled that off and got that no hitter, because it's not just the coach that gets it or the pitcher that gets it. It's not just the catcher who's a part of it, but the entire team gets it. And then when they can get a no hitter or a perfect game, this happened quite often lately in Major League Baseball in recent past. There's been a lot more than years gone by. But like, we didn't suck today. And that's one of those things. Like, that's the one thing about baseball, is that every team every day, except the Chicago White Sox, are 102 losses, I think there are right now. Every team has a chance to not suck today, and that's kind of what life is about a little bit. You have a chance to not suck because you play so many games, you play every day, and you have another chance. And it's just like every day you get to go out in the field and you get to dust off the boots and dust off the shoes and try again. And it's one of those things that it's one thing about baseball that you can really take into life a lot, is that you have a chance to be great, and you have a chance to do something really awesome, and something that other people don't get to do on a daily basis. And everybody it's a team sport filled with individualistic efforts. And that's the one thing that you really, really watch with baseball, is that you have a chance, you have something to do. Like it's tough to win, and winning's hard, but when you have a chance to not suck, you take advantage of it. And that's what baseball, I think that's one great thing about baseball that compares to life. And you worry about the other things in life and the stuff that really, really gets you down. But when you get a chance to just sit back and watch a game, there's nothing quite like. And I like I've said before on this show, I understand when people don't like baseball. I get it. It's not the fastest moving sport. There's some downtime, but it's a thinking person's sport. You can just sit back and enjoy it. And take you back to that Oakland A's game. I watched the next day actually as well. Watched a lot of baseball. And then the wife got a little bit sick of that on Saturday, but whatever. She can. Well, I'll go downstairs maybe next time and do it. But you get watch that Oakland A's team, and they're coming down to the days are winding down to a precious few in Oakland. They won't be playing at the old Coliseum much anymore after this year or anymore after this season. They're calling it good, but there was a lot of people. Like the crowds are actually pretty decent in Oakland this year, like the lower bowl and everything. So obviously not where the guy caught the three foul balls. Didn't just get him; he caught 3 foul balls. But it was. The crowds were good and the families were there, and they took a lot of shots of the crowd, of people smiling with their friends and family and young and old alike. And there was a lot of people. Like I've been there a few times. It's not the most glamorous place, but like it's still like the green grass and the people having a good time, and it's still one of those things you can just go inside those walls and just enjoy it for 2.5, 3 hours and just really immerse yourself in it and not worry about all the outside noise and all the other crap that's happening throughout the sports world or throughout the political world and everything else, and inflation and on it goes. But with baseball, you get 3 hours to just lose yourself in it. You don't have to pay attention the entire time. You can talk to the person next to you. It's not like hockey where it's the action's fast and furious, or football where there's a play and a whistle and a goal. Baseball's a very methodical, very good sport to watch and to lose yourself in it. And when you have some problems between the years, which we all do, like nobody's perfect by any means, but when you have some things going on that's like not a really bad things, but it's really fun to just lose yourself in. And that's what people in Oakland are having a chance to do. And their team isn't that bad this year. I mean, they're not great. They're not a playoff team, but they're having a pretty decent season. In the last year, it's got to be tough for those players not knowing where they're going to be next year and how it's all going to play out. But that's the thing about baseball, that you get a chance to do that on a daily basis. Now, take that into the Little League World Series on Sunday afternoon. I've always been a big fan of this tournament since I was a kid, watching it from Williamsport and the crowd and the kids. And you look at the smiles on these kids' faces, the way they're competing and just having a good time. And they're respectful to the umpires, they're respectful to their coaches, respectful to their opponents. And you wonder, I think I said it last week, you wonder when kids would go from these respectful 11, 12-year-olds to the kids who are 15 and 16 who think that the whole world is owed to them. But we'll talk about that on another day. Maybe I'll get some of these coaches around here to fill me in on how that all works. But you watch that Little League World Series game, and 1-0 going to the bottom of the sixth inning, in a 6-inning game. And the kid from Florida, the Florida coach, had a great speech to his team. We're not going to let this define what we did. And we're going to go out, we're going to score a run. We're going to figure out a way to win this thing. And then they tied it up on a bloop single and scored a guy, and the guy almost got thrown out at third. And then the bunt in the 8th inning to the squeeze play to win it. And I've said before, and as soon as it happened, I was watching it, and I said, see, there it is, the end. Smart people bunt. And she kind of laughed in the whole bit. So maybe Major League Baseball will realize you got to put the ball in play and not strike out with the guy at second base. He can advance from the third, score him, and maybe something can happen. Maybe Major League Baseball should have watched that. A lot of teams watched that Florida coach, how he handled that 9th or 8th inning in the extra innings. But it was smart people bunt, and it was really enjoyable to see those kids celebrating the way they were. But then the way that they stopped jumping up and down and cheering. They saw the dejection in the Chinese Taipei team and their opponents. They stopped. They said, okay, let's not rub it in here a little bit, and let's go and shake their hands and give them hugs and get them tell them to hold their head up, because the dejection that those kids must have felt at that moment on the squeeze play and botched defense and the whole bit. You don't want to point fingers at 12-year-olds, obviously, but it was really nice to watch. And it was really nice to see that there is some good in this world. And it comes through the world of sports that gets a very negative view a lot of times because of all the money that gets made. But obviously those kids in Little League, maybe we got to take a page out of their book throughout life and say that they're doing it for fun, and baseball's supposed to be fun, and life's supposed to be fun, and on it goes. And for a few hours a day, we get to either participate in the greatest game in the world, or we get to watch the greatest game in the world and just get away from it all. And that's one thing I got to do this weekend to get myself out of the dumpster a little bit. And that's why I thank you very much to the world of baseball for that, because It was fun to watch. There was just certain moments at certain times, and you feel for the people of Oakland who are going to lose that chance to go to games. And it's too bad that their ownership and greed and everything else happens. But it's just funny the way it all works out. And then then you dust off the boots, like I said, and you go to work on Monday morning, and you maybe let the game of baseball to take over and help you out through some things, and then turn off all that political nonsense that's on both sides of the spectrum. Turn it all off and just go in and forget about it, because basically I can't do anything to change that, and it's not going to change a whole bunch of my life in the foreseeable future. So why I get down those rabbit holes of that is kind of a mystery to me, because I tend to do it quite often. But anyways, there's my little rant for the day, my little chat about some baseball, some things. Lots happening in the 1420 world. I might do got a new show that's going to be starting, I don't know, this Saturday or next Saturday, but one of the two. We got something going on there. A lot of other things that are going to be happening. But that's it for the 1420 in the morning. With a little bit, 1 minute and 10 seconds over time. But it's just thought I'd come in and have a chat and let you guys tell me what you guys think about how you guys get through some days of your life and how it all works out. And thank you very much once again to SeatGeek for sponsoring us at the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 Beer Sports Talk and a whole lot more. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase.
SeatGeek presents Boomstick Lady. SeatGeek helps her find the perfect seat so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Oh, okay. SeatGeek handles the tickets so fans can fan.
Yeah, so drop us a line either on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it might be, or email if you want to really let me have it at 1420sports@gmail.com and let us know what you like about the sport of baseball and how come you get yourself immersed in it. It might not be just baseball. I just find baseball such a better game than football. I know there's a lot of people who aren't going to like me for that, but it's just one of those things that I really enjoy watching baseball a lot more than any other sport. It's just one of those things. So anyways, thank you very much for listening this morning here at 1420 in the morning. And then 1420, we're going to get something going tomorrow night, the regular scheduled programming. On Thursdays, get back doing that again. And then Mondays and Thursdays and Mondays and Thursdays. And like I said, the Saturday show with something new coming up there. Again, got some new different guests lined up or a different name and all that going on. So pretty excited about all that. So thank you very much for listening. And remember, everybody, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with, and smart people bunt. Have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 Beer with Sports Talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.